Have you ever felt nervous ordering food in an English-speaking restaurant? Don't worry, you're not alone. In this lesson, you will learn how to understand and use common English phrases used in restaurants. By the end of this video, you will feel more confident when you go out to eat, whether it's in a cafe, a fast food place, or a fancy restaurant. Let's imagine you are visiting a nice restaurant with a friend. You walk in, and a waiter comes to greet you. When you enter a restaurant, the first person you usually meet is the host or hostess. They are the ones who welcome you and help you find a table. They might say, "Good evening. How many people are in your group?" Or, "Table for two?" These are very common phrases. You can simply answer, "For two, please," or "Just me, please." If you have made a reservation earlier, you can say, "I have a reservation under the name Zohaib." It's always polite to smile and use words like please and thank you. These small words make your conversation sound friendly and natural. Once the host shows you to your table, you usually sit down and wait for the waiter to bring the menu. The menu is a list of all the food and drinks the restaurant serves. Sometimes the waiter might say, "Here are your menus," or "Can I get you something to drink while you look at the menu?" If you are not ready to order, you can reply, "Not yet, please. We need a few more minutes." This is a very natural and polite way to ask for more time. Now, imagine you're looking at the menu. You might see different sections like appetizers, main courses, desserts, and drinks. If you don't understand a word or a dish, it's completely okay to ask. You can say, "Excuse me, what is the chicken parmesan?" Or, "Can you tell me what's in this dish?" Waiters are used to helping customers understand the menu, and they'll be happy to explain. Let's take a small example. Suppose you see something called beef stroganoff on the menu, and you have never heard of it. You can politely ask, "What is beef stroganoff?" The waiter might reply, "It's a beef dish cooked in a creamy mushroom sauce, served with rice or noodles." Listening carefully will help you understand the main ingredients. If you don't like something, you can also ask, "Does it have mushrooms?" Or, "Can I get it without cheese?" These small questions help you order exactly what you want. Now that you've looked at the menu and decided what you want to eat, it's time to order your food. This is one of the most important parts of a restaurant conversation. The waiter usually comes to your table and asks, "Are you ready to order?" Or, "Can I take your order?" If you're ready, you can say, "Yes, I'd like the grilled chicken, please." Or, "I'll have the pasta with tomato sauce." Notice that we say, "I'd like," or "I'll have." These are polite and natural ways to order food in English. If you need a little more time, you can say, "Not yet, please. Just a few more minutes." This is much better than saying, "Wait," or "Hold on," which can sound a bit rude. In restaurants, polite language is very important. You can also use phrases like, "Could I have?" or "Can I get?" For example, "Could I have the vegetable soup and a glass of water, please?" These phrases sound friendly and respectful. Sometimes you may want to ask for recommendations. For example, you can ask, "What do you recommend?" Or, "What's popular here?" The waiter might say, "Our seafood pasta is very good." Or, "The grilled salmon is one of our most popular dishes." Asking for recommendations is a great way to sound more natural and have a little conversation in English. You might also want to ask about how the food is cooked. For example, if you are ordering steak, the waiter may ask, "How would you like your steak cooked?" The common answers are rare, medium, medium well, or well done. If you're not sure, you can simply say, "Medium, please." It's perfectly okay to ask, "What does medium mean?" The waiter can explain that it means the meat is cooked, but still a little pink inside. If you have any food allergies or special requests, it's very important to tell the waiter clearly. You can say, "I'm allergic to nuts," or "Can you make it without butter?" You can also say, "I don't eat pork," or "Can I have it without spicy sauce?" In most restaurants, the staff will do their best to help you. Speaking clearly and politely helps them understand you better. Once everyone at your table has ordered, the waiter will repeat your order to make sure it's correct. For example, they might say, "So that's 1 grilled chicken, 1 vegetable soup, and 2 lemonades, right?" You can reply, "Yes, that's correct. Thank you." This is a good chance to check if the waiter understood your order correctly. After you finish ordering, the waiter usually leaves and gives you some time to relax while the kitchen prepares your food. This part of the restaurant experience is quiet and comfortable, but it's also a good time to practice small talk in English. Small talk means light, friendly conversation, nothing too serious or personal. People often use this time to chat while waiting for their meal. For example, if you're eating with a friend, you can talk about how hungry you are or how nice the restaurant looks. You might say, "This place has a really cozy atmosphere," or "The smell of food is making me even hungrier." Your friend might reply, "Yes, it feels really comfortable here," or "I heard their pizza is amazing." These small sentences are simple, but very useful for keeping a natural conversation going. Sometimes the waiter might come back to bring your drinks first. They may say, "Here are your drinks," or "Would you like any straws?" You can reply, "Thank you," or "No, that's fine, thank you." If you ordered water or juice and you want ice, you can say, "Could I get some ice, please?" Or, if you don't want ice, you can say, "No ice, please." Simple phrases like these make your communication clear and polite. If the restaurant is busy and your food is taking longer than expected, it's okay to ask politely. You can say, "Excuse me, do you know how long our food will take?" Or, "Could you please check on our order?" Remember to always use a friendly tone. Saying please and thank you keeps your request polite, even when you're waiting a long time. This waiting period is also a good time to notice how waiters and other customers speak.
Listen to how people order, or how they say thank you and you're welcome. It's a great listening practice. You can even quietly repeat some of their phrases to yourself. This will help you sound more natural when you speak English in real situations.
Then, when the food is almost ready, you might see the waiter bringing it to your table. They may say, "Here's your grilled chicken," or "Who ordered the pasta?" It's common for the waiter to confirm who ordered which dish, especially when there are several people. You can respond by raising your hand slightly and saying, "That's mine, thank you." When the plates arrive, the waiter might say, "Enjoy your meal," or "Bon appetit." The polite and friendly thing to say back is simply, "Thank you." You can also smile. It shows appreciation and makes the interaction warmer. This moment marks the transition from waiting to enjoying your food, and it's another chance to practice polite expressions in English naturally. Now the food has arrived, and it's time to enjoy your meal. This part is not only about eating, it's also about how to interact politely while you're at the table. In English-speaking countries, there are a few simple manners and expressions people often use during a meal, and learning them will help you sound natural and respectful. When the waiter places your food in front of you, it's polite to say, "Thank you," or "That looks great." If you're dining with friends, you can also say, "Everything looks delicious," or "I can't wait to try this." These small comments create a friendly atmosphere. Before you start eating, some people also say, "Enjoy your meal," to others at the table. You can reply with, "You too." It's a nice and natural way to show good manners. While eating, people usually make small conversation. You can talk about the food or the restaurant. For example, you might say, "This pasta tastes amazing," or "The chicken is really tender." Your friend might answer, "Yes, the sauce is delicious." These short exchanges are simple, but help you practice describing tastes and textures in English. Words like spicy, sweet, salty, sour, crispy, soft, and juicy are very common when talking about food. You can also make polite comments to the waiter if they come to check on you. Waiters often ask, "How's everything?" or "Is everything okay with your meal?" You can reply, "Everything's great, thank you," or "It's really good." If something is wrong, you can say it politely. For example, "Excuse me, my soup is a bit cold," or "I'm sorry, but I didn't order this dish." Speaking calmly and politely makes it easy for the waiter to fix the problem. If you need something during your meal, such as more water or an extra napkin, you can use short and polite requests. For example, "Could I get some more water, please?" Or, "Can we have some extra napkins?" Using "please" is important because it makes your request sound kind and respectful. If the waiter brings what you asked for, always remember to say, "Thank you very much." Sometimes you might want to share food with a friend or try a bite of their dish. You can ask politely, "Would you like to try some of this?" Or, "Can I taste a bit of yours?"
These small exchanges make the meal more enjoyable and also help you use friendly English expressions naturally.
If you drop something, like a fork or a napkin, don't worry. You can simply say, "Excuse me, could I get another fork, please?" Or, "I dropped my napkin. Can I have a new one?" Mistakes like that happen to everyone, and polite communication is the key to handling them smoothly. When you've finished eating, there's still an important part of the restaurant experience left: what to do after your meal. This part includes telling the waiter you're done, asking for dessert or coffee if you'd like, and finally, paying the bill. It's a calm and polite moment, and it's just as important as ordering your food. When you're almost done eating, the waiter might come to check on you and ask, "Are you still working on that?" or "Have you finished?" This question might sound strange, but "Are you still working on that?" is a common and polite way to ask if you're still eating. If you're finished, you can say, "Yes, I'm done, thank you," or "Yes, you can take this." If you're still eating, you can say, "Not yet, I'm still eating." These simple responses make your meaning clear and polite. After finishing your main meal, the waiter might ask, "Would you like to see the dessert menu?" Or, "Would you like any coffee or tea?" If you want dessert, you can say, "Yes, please. Could I see the dessert menu?" If you're full, you can reply, "No, thank you. Everything was perfect." Using phrases like "everything was great" or "it was delicious" is a polite way to show appreciation for the food and service. When you're completely done, you can signal to the waiter that you're ready for the bill. In English-speaking countries, people usually say, "Could we have the bill, please?" Or, "Can I get the check, please?" Both bill and check mean the same thing, but check is more common in American English, while bill is used more in British English. Try to say it with a smile and a calm tone. There's no need to wave your hand or shout across the room. When the waiter brings the bill, they'll usually say, "Here you go," or "Whenever you're ready." This means you can take your time to look at it. Check that everything is correct, and if something doesn't look right, you can ask politely, "Excuse me, could you please check this item?" For example, if you were charged for a drink you didn't order, the waiter will happily fix it. When you're ready to pay, you can ask, "Can I pay by card?" Or, "Do you accept credit cards?" If you're paying with cash, you can hand the money directly and say, "Here you go," or "This is for the bill." If you're with a group, you might want to split the bill. You can say, "Can we split the bill, please?" Or, "We'd like to pay separately." This is very common, and the waiter will usually handle it easily. After paying, it's always polite to say something nice before you leave. You can say, "Thank you very much," or "Everything was wonderful." If you really enjoyed the meal, you can add, "The food was amazing," or "We'll definitely come back." Waiters really appreciate these kinds of comments because they show respect and gratitude. Finally, as you leave, it's common to say, "Have a nice day," or "Thanks again." The staff might reply, "Thank you, have a great evening." It's a friendly way to end your dining experience.
This final exchange leaves a good impression and helps you sound confident and polite in English. After leaving the restaurant, it's a great time to reflect on your experience and think about how you can use what you've learned in future conversations. Many English learners don't realize that the restaurant experience offers several opportunities to practice real-life English, not just with the waiter, but also with friends, co-workers, or even strangers you might meet while dining out. Let's imagine you and your friend have just walked out of the restaurant. You might say something like, "That was a great meal," or "I'm so full." Your friend might reply, "Yes, the food was delicious," or "I really liked the service." These are very natural and common ways to talk about your dining experience afterward. It's also a nice way to practice describing your opinions in English.
If you want to express something specific about what you liked, you can say, "The pasta was really creamy," or "The steak was cooked perfectly." If something wasn't great, you can also express it politely by saying, "The soup was a little too salty for me," or "The music was a bit loud, but the food made up for it." In English-speaking culture, people often share opinions about their experiences in a calm, balanced way. This helps you sound natural and polite, even when you're being honest. Sometimes, your friend might ask, "Would you come here again?" You can reply, "Yes, definitely," or "Maybe next time I'll try something different." This small conversation helps you practice expressing future plans in English. For example, "Next time I want to try their desserts," or "I'd love to bring my family here." These sentences are simple but useful in many daily conversations. If you're visiting a restaurant in a new city or country, you might also want to recommend it to others. You could say, "The restaurant was really nice," or "The service was excellent." You can also use phrases like, "It's a great place for lunch," or "The prices are very reasonable." These expressions are perfect if you're writing a short review online or telling friends about your experience.
This part of the experience is not just about what you say, but how you listen and respond naturally. When your friend talks about their opinion, listen carefully and show interest. You can use short responses like, "Really? I know, right?" or "Exactly." These are very common in English conversation and make you sound engaged and friendly. Even a simple walk after dinner can become a chance to practice your English. You can talk about what you might do next, like, "Do you want to grab a coffee?" or "Let's take a walk before heading home." These are everyday English phrases that native speakers use all the time. After enjoying your meal and sharing your thoughts with your friend, it's also useful to reflect on the language you used and how you can improve for next time. This part is about learning from your experience, paying attention to the words, tone, and expressions that helped you communicate clearly and confidently in English. Think about how you started your restaurant visit. You greeted the host, asked for a table, and responded politely. These small interactions might seem simple, but they're a big part of real-life communication. You can practice them again by repeating phrases like, "Table for two, please," or "I have a reservation under the name Zohaib."
Saying them out loud helps your mouth get used to the rhythm of natural English speech. Then, remember how you ordered your food. You probably said something like, "I'd like the grilled chicken," or "Can I get the pasta with tomato sauce, please?" These are polite and flexible sentences you can use anywhere, not just in restaurants. You can practice them with different words. "I'd like a coffee, please," or "Could I have a sandwich?" Repeating them with small changes helps you build confidence and fluency.
Also, think about how you responded to the waiter's questions. For example, when the waiter asked, "How's everything?" you replied, "Everything's great, thank you." This kind of short, polite answer is very common in English-speaking cultures. It shows that you're friendly and respectful, even in short conversations. You can practice similar replies for other situations, like, "It's perfect, thanks," or "That's fine, thank you." Another good way to improve is to notice new words from the restaurant experience. For example, words like menu, reservation, bill, waiter, appetizer, and dessert are all very common in everyday English. Try to write them down and make your own sentences. For example, "The waiter brought the menu," or "We paid the bill at the end." When you create simple sentences like these, your memory becomes stronger. Listening practice is also very important. When you go to a restaurant next time, listen carefully to how native speakers order, ask for things, or thank the staff. Notice their tone. It's usually polite, but relaxed. You can even try to copy their way of speaking later. Shadowing, repeating what you hear immediately, is a great technique to sound more natural in English. After enjoying your meal and sharing your thoughts with your friend, it's also useful to reflect on the language you used and how you can improve for next time. This part is about learning from your experience, paying attention to the words, tone, and expressions that helped you communicate clearly and confidently in English. Think about how you started your restaurant visit. You greeted the host, asked for a table, and responded politely. These small interactions might seem simple, but they're a big part of real-life communication. You can practice them again by repeating phrases like, "Table for two, please," or "I have a reservation under the name Zohaib." Saying them out loud helps your mouth get used to the rhythm of natural English speech. Then, remember how you ordered your food. You probably said something like, "I'd like the grilled chicken," or "Can I get the pasta with tomato sauce, please?" These are polite and flexible sentences you can use anywhere, not just in restaurants. You can practice them with different words, like "I'd like a coffee, please," or "Could I have a sandwich?" Repeating them with small changes helps you build confidence and fluency. Also, think about how you responded to the waiter's questions. For example, when the waiter asked, "How's everything?" you replied, "Everything's great, thank you." This kind of short, polite answer is very common in English-speaking cultures. It shows that you're friendly and respectful even in short conversations. You can practice similar replies for other situations, like, "It's perfect, thanks," or "That's fine, thank you." Another good way to improve is to notice new words from the restaurant experience. For example, words like menu, reservation, bill, waiter, appetizer, and dessert are all very common in everyday English. Try to write them down and make your own sentences. For example, the waiter brought the menu, or we paid the bill at the end. When you create simple sentences like these, your memory becomes stronger. Listening practice is also very important. When you go to a restaurant next time, listen carefully to how native speakers order, ask for things, or thank the staff. Notice their tone. It's usually polite, but relaxed. You can even try to copy their way of speaking later. Shadowing, repeating what you hear immediately, is a great technique to sound more natural in English. Finally, practice your pronunciation. Some restaurant words can be tricky. For example, menu is pronounced menu, not menu. Dessert, the sweet dish, is dessert, while desert, a dry, sandy place, is desert. Saying these words aloud a few times helps you remember the difference. Now that you've learned how to be polite and confident while communicating in a restaurant, let's focus on how to handle more unexpected or slightly difficult situations. These moments can happen anywhere. Maybe the food isn't what you ordered, the service is slow, or there's a small mistake on the bill. Knowing how to deal with these situations calmly and clearly in English is an important part of becoming fluent and natural. Imagine you ordered a grilled chicken salad, but the waiter brings you a chicken sandwich instead. In this situation, the key is to stay calm and polite. You could say, "Excuse me, I think there's a mistake. I ordered the chicken salad, not the sandwich." This is short, clear, and respectful. The waiter will likely respond, "Oh, I'm so sorry about that. I'll fix it right away." Mistakes happen everywhere, and using polite language helps solve problems quickly and smoothly. Sometimes your food might take too long. You've been waiting for a while and you start to feel impatient. Instead of showing frustration, you can ask politely, "Excuse me, could you please check on our order?" Or, "Do you know how much longer it might take?" This shows that you're curious, not angry, and it helps the staff respond kindly. Tone is very important here. Even a simple question can sound rude if it's spoken with an impatient voice, but gentle words and a soft tone make a big difference. If the food doesn't taste good or is not cooked properly, it's okay to say something. You can say, "Excuse me, I'm sorry, but this isn't what I expected." Or, "The soup is a bit cold. Could it be warmed up, please?" The goal is to express your problem clearly without sounding upset. Most waiters and chefs want customers to be happy, so they'll usually fix the problem or offer something else. There may also be times when the restaurant is noisy or you can't hear the waiter clearly. If that happens, you can politely say, "Sorry, could you say that again?" Or, "I didn't quite catch that." This phrase, "I didn't catch that," is very natural and polite in English. It's a great one to use anytime you don't understand something. At the end of the meal, if the bill looks incorrect, maybe there's an extra item or the price doesn't match, you can say, "Excuse me, I think there might be a small mistake on the bill. Could you please check it? Again, using calm and respectful language shows maturity and confidence. You're not complaining, you're just clarifying something. Even if everything goes wrong, the food is late, the order is wrong, or the place is crowded, staying polite helps you handle the situation gracefully. People will appreciate your calmness, and you'll feel proud of how you managed to communicate effectively in English. Now that you've experienced every part of the restaurant visit, from walking in and ordering to paying the bill and handling small problems, it's time to bring everything together. This final part is about confidence, fluency, and applying what you've learned in real life. It's where practice becomes experience, and experience becomes comfort. When you first started learning restaurant English, it might have felt a little scary. So many new words, expressions, and social rules to remember. But now you know exactly what to do in every situation. You can greet the host confidently with a simple "Table for two, please." You can order food politely by saying, "I'd like the pasta with tomato sauce, please." You can ask questions like, "What do you recommend?" or "Does this dish come with rice?" You can even handle mistakes calmly by saying, "Excuse me, I think there's a small problem with my order." The most important thing to remember is that you don't need perfect English to communicate well. What matters most is your confidence, politeness, and willingness to try. In real life, most people care more about your attitude than your grammar. A friendly smile, a calm tone, and a few polite words like please, thank you, and excuse me go much further than complicated vocabulary ever could. Practicing English in restaurants is one of the best ways to build real-world speaking and listening skills. Each time you go out to eat, you get a chance to listen to natural English, how waiters greet customers, how people order, how friends talk while eating. You can learn so much just by paying attention. And every time you speak, even if it's just to order coffee or ask for the bill, you're training your mind and your tongue to sound more natural. You can also practice at home. Try imagining restaurant situations and saying them aloud. For example, "Excuse me, could I get some water, please?" Or, "Everything was wonderful. Thank you very much." You can even practice both sides of the conversation. Pretend to be the customer and the waiter. This kind of role play helps your brain get comfortable with real English rhythms and expressions. Another great way to improve is by watching English videos or listening to conversations that take place in restaurants. Pay attention to how people use their tone. It's often friendly, relaxed, and polite. You'll notice that native speakers don't always speak quickly. They speak clearly and naturally. You can copy that rhythm to make your English sound smoother and more confident. And finally, remember that learning English isn't only about memorizing sentences. It's about communication, connecting with people, sharing experiences, and expressing yourself. When you walk into a restaurant, you're not just ordering food. You're practicing real English, building confidence, and learning how to express kindness and respect through language.
So the next time you visit a restaurant, take a deep breath, smile, and use everything you've learned. Order your meal politely. Ask questions with confidence. Thank the waiter sincerely, and enjoy every moment of the experience. Each small conversation is a step toward fluency. You're not just learning English, you're living it.